Good morning, everyone. Today is October the 9th, the year 2019. Roll call, please.
Dan Wilkins,
Yes.
John Ledford, Blake Treason,
Here.
Lane Lewis,
Present?
and President Roberts.
Present. Let's all stand for the pledge, please. Jim Redmond, would you help us with the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
First item on the agenda, as always, is public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board on any items not on the agenda, now is the time.
Podium. Board members, my name is Hardy, and public, my name is Hardy Bullock, and I'm running for the Board of Supervisors District 5 seat, currently occupied by Richard Anderson here in Truckee. I just wanted to say hello, mention that I'm running for that seat. Look forward to talking with you all. Obviously, you're a constituent of Nevada County. A little bit about myself: I grew up in western Nevada County for my whole life. Graduated from Nevada Union, went to college at UNR. Been living here in Truckee for 28 years. Many of you know me from the Airport District. I'm the Director of Aviation and Community Services for the Airport District as well. Avid cyclist, outdoors person, Rotarian, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and other affiliations. I just want to say hello. So I've been working for about a year in preparation for this race. I spent a lot of time in Western County. I'm an appointed planning commissioner, so I see different land use and planning elements come before me as a commissioner, both the county and the town. So I just wanted to say hello to all of you, and I left my card, thanks, with the district clerk, and so she can pass those out if you want to reach me. Happy to sit down and talk with anybody here on the board or here with staff members or concerned constituents. Look forward to speaking with you about things that you handle down here. And one of the funnest pieces recently was talking to people in Western and Eastern County both about what the Board of Supervisor does for people in Truckee, because a lot of times we're looking closely at the town council and other things that are directly affecting kind of our daily lives, but the county does have an effect in many things. It interfaces with organizations and special districts and other elected and appointed officials up here. So if you have things that concern, please reach out to me. We can sit down together and talk about how the county interacts with the different various agencies and your agency in particular. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for the introduction and good luck.
Good luck, Hardy.
Okay, public comment. Public comment. Anyone? Moving on the agenda. Professional achievements, awards, and anniversaries. Good morning.
Good morning, President Cox and directors, Vicki Letourneau, Human Resources Administrator. I'd just like to acknowledge staff for safety awards for the last quarter, and those include 3, which are Ryan Schultz. If you would please stand. Ryan Schultz, order a safety manhole cover to protect against falls and ensure fall protection compliance out in the field. Good job, Ryan, thank you. Jaime Garcia, I may order a drum lift attachment for the forklift. Good job, thank you. And myself, install cross traffic ahead sign at the plant entrance intersection. And I would just like to thank everyone that took the time to submit safety suggestions.
Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. Next item is the consent agenda. Anyone have any questions or comments on the consent agenda items?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar as is.
Motion on the floor to approve.
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Northrop. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Approval, do we take these items each and independently, or is this a blanket?
That's the next one.
Okay,
Yeah, those are independent.
all right. Okay, regular agenda, approval, to advertise the portable emergency pump system project.
Morning, directors. Jay Parker, engineering manager. So it's time to retire one of our bypass pumps, Big Blue. It's been out of service, or it's in service, but it's out of compliance for carb air emissions. And we can no longer run it under our current air permits. We rely on that for bypass pumping on the TRI for emergency projects, or here in the plant for emergency bypass situations. And it's a critical piece of infrastructure, but it's time that we replace it. So engineering staff would like to go out and advertise for replacement pumps. There'd be 2 pumps, 6-inch pumps, identically sized, to replace this single 10-inch Big Blue pump. So,
Is this similar to what North Tahoe's bypass system is, and does TSD have a bypass pump also? I mean,
Yeah.
are we all integrated?
We
I mean,
are.
if one fails, say Truckee's, fails, I mean, will this be able to be implemented in an emergency response?
Yeah, so under mutual aid, we have basically end connections that are compatible with North Tahoe PUD is what we based our pass design on.
Okay.
So if you recall, several years ago, we bought a Pioneer pump, bypass pump.
Okay.
And that pump was basically designed with its piping connections to connect to North Tahoe systems. What we learned in that scenario is TSD, we were able to connect with their systems as well using coupling. So yes, it is compatible. And the Godwin, the 2 pumps that we're considering purchasing are it's Godwin or equal. So if we get the Godwin pump, it is identical to the, or very similar to the model series Godwins that North Tahoe has.
Okay.
And I believe TSD, you have at least one Godwin. Yep. So the idea is that under mutual aid, our entire pool of pumps, if you have a problem, we'd be going over to assist you, likewise with us, et cetera, with all the districts.
Right. I was just making sure, because we got another pump situation later on, making sure we have the same parts, whatever, that we have the symmetry as far as the overlap and function between the 3 districts that have them because of the emergency basis that we have to use them under.
Yeah, correct.
So Jay, the pump is just one part of a, emergency response. The hose is the other one.
Yeah, we have a hose reel system.
You do? Okay,
And
great.
we have fittings that connect the pump discharge to the hose reel systems. We have suction piping.
Okay.
As part of this project, if you will, we would be purchasing some additional suction pipes to support. But for this advertisement, it's strictly to the vendors for pump purchase. And then all these other ancillary stuff comes in later. But a lot of that we already have. So we don't need additional hose reel. We don't need additional, we have plenty of fittings, but there could be, depending on who we get, this vendor, there could be a couple adapters we have to buy and those kind of things.
Yeah, it's amazing how those responses, one little piece can end up, you can have the right pump, thousands of feet of stuff, but one little fitting and you can't use any of it.
Right.
So, doing the training and the coordination with the other agencies is critical, and I encourage you. I think it's great getting a new one. We've spent a lot of time customizing our trailers and our pump stuff with all those parts because these are emergency response stuff, and you don't want to be looking through your, bins and forklifting stuff to get ready to respond. You want to just pull and go, and so
Correct.
We've done a lot of work on that. And if you ever have any interest, come down and take a look at. Encourage you to come down and look at how we've kind of equipped our stuff so that there's never a question.
Yeah.
You just put it on the trailer and go, and you've got all the fittings you're going to need.
Right. When we did the Pioneer pump, we took a tour of TSD's facilities and North Tahoe's facilities to make sure that our our approach was compatible. But we also rely on the maintenance department to do, or scheduled to do annual drills where, you know, the guys who are actually going to set up, you know, the equipment and use it, hands-on drills where they assemble everything. And, so that also ensures that we, you know, have the right pieces and parts.
Well, I think when you do that, I mean, we've done it in the past, but when we do it, I mean, that we do it under a mutual aid deal where the districts that have them are present, so you can, you know, follow that through, you know. I remember, because we used to do it every, you know, 10 years ago, we'd have one. But when we had a spill, you know, when a piling went through the force main there, I mean, our pumps could barely keep up with what we had, and having that backup was relieved a lot of tension on the crews that were out there doing it.
Yes.
And you know, every 3-4 years, it's probably a good idea that you have a mutual aid demonstration, whether, you know, and rotate it around between TSD, North Tahoe, and
I mean, it's been 15 years since
Yeah.
we've had that
That
event,
one.
we had one in Caltrans where, Caltrans Road, where we think we had called for possible backup. But I think that might be good for us to.
would be
It
better.
would be good for us to pull in all the districts to see how that's working.
Exactly.
And learn from each other.
Now, Jay, when you say pull in all the districts, is what you're talking about includes Squaw and Alpine?
It would be the
I guess it'd be
TRI.
the ones that have emergency equipment on hand. I know for sure, in terms of the TRI, to have this size, because it's not just whether you have the equipment, it's the size of the equipment as well. And I know that Truckee and North Tahoe have pumps that are size that would be helpful for us in emergency. I'm not sure about Alpine and Squaw, obviously.
Not aware of it.
So as far as for being able to interact, the TTSA pump, Squaw Valley doesn't have any pump, or Alpine doesn't have any pump that would interchange the fittings and what you've been talking about?
Well, I think it would come down to capacity as well, because, you know, when you look at the Squaw flows, they're significantly less than what you'd have on the TRI. So usually we're looking for the big workhorses. You know, that
Okay.
come in.
Right, we have, you know, we've done a mutual aid with Tahoe City with regards to our hose reels and our bypasses, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years ago. But the reason we got ours is it was a settlement in a spill issue that we had, and that, and it's a very expensive piece of equipment. There's not really any, I mean, between North Tahoe and Tahoe City, you know, you should have one, but not two. But having the backup here,
Yeah.
you know, because, you know, we had those Vector trucks, you know, look at how many Vector trucks we had running through Tahoe Cities, TSDs, TTSAs. It all worked, but it took everything.
It did.
Yeah.
And not just on the hose reel note, we have modeled our hose reel after North Tahoe's. So our systems should be compatible, but I agree, we should have some kind of hands-on, you know, functional kind of training.
Good.
I'll make the motion that we approve this advertising for bid.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So ordered.
Morning, President Cox and Board of Directors, Richard Fonte, Maintenance Manager. For you is a request for approval. There has been a slight change since we did the board packet. To give you some background, the VFDs we were looking to replace were installed roughly 2007. There's been some historical challenges getting replacement parts. They are all three still functional. So this was a proactive move on our part to try and replace them before we had failure issues. Since the bid that was advertised and received. The low bidder, the sole low bidder contacted us and has requested to withdraw their bid. They made some substantial errors in the bid as far as sizing and the ability for the equipment to fit in the available footprint that we have. So I'm going to change my recommendation to ask that we reject the bid and give us the ability to negotiate with vendors to move the project forward.
Is the reason for part of that is, I mean, there's 3 VFDs that need to be replaced?
Correct.
Okay, and to keep parts and everything right now are non-accessible for them, is that correct?
The issue's has been a challenge with parts. The VFD manufacturer had changed hands.
Okay,
Our understanding is the parts that we have would be repairable, but not readily available off the shelf.
what manufacturer VFDs are these?
These are Siemens.
Siemens?
Yeah.
Oh, they're pretty
For the
good.
Robocon is actually the drive manufacturer,
Okay.
How old are they?
12 years old.
that's 12 years old. So,
And they've been running flawlessly for that long?
there have been some failures in the past to some of the drive boards that they were able to get spare parts through like eBay to get them back up and running.
So what you're proposing is to go out to bid for a second time here and come back on a November meeting for approval?
Actually, I'd like to reject bids and have the ability to negotiate with different vendors, seeking the best price that will fit within the footprint we have. That's some of the challenges, the existing cabinets, the way the conduits run, we have to come up with something that either fits in the place or something we can retrofit the existing cabinets with.
So you're looking at totally a different vendor pump, I mean VFD, for all 3 of these, and you're not satisfied with what we have as far as availability of parts. If one goes down, being able to replace that, even though they're only 12 years old.
Correct.
Okay.
I will say that as far as vendor, if we negotiate
Yeah.
with, we'll open it up to Siemens and Robocon. If they can provide something for a cost-effective price that fits within the
Brenda
footprint.
Foes and stuff like those other manufacturers be included.
Exactly. Eaton, Allen Bradley.
Oh, Bradley, yeah. Okay.
So under this proposed recommendation, would you be coming back to the board with the results of that?
Yes, I would.
Non-competitive bid, but just sort of more of a competitive procurement process as opposed to an open bid process?
Correct.
Okay.
Let's take a look at it and see what the long-term solution is and by opening it up. So I'll make the motion that we
Table?
reject the bid and we go forward with negotiations.
To enter into a contract, we'll return next month.
Correct.
Once we receive.
Okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Rochelle, do you have that motion?
I do.
Okay. Motion made by Director Lewis, seconded by Northrop. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Thank you. So item 3 is a similar item. It was for a VFD to replace, purchase of a VFD for the replacement of the multi-purpose pump station VFD. Again, the same low bidder was, the low bidder on this job as the other one. They requested to withdraw this one as well due to an error in the actual VFD size, horsepower wise. The difference on this one is the VFD has actually failed. So in line with the other one, I'd like to reject this bid due to the error and seek the ability to negotiate, but actually enter into the purchase with a not to exceed cost of $29,000.
When this thing failed, what was your backup?
We have 2 pumps that are there currently, so it's running on the backup pump. We also have additional fixed speed pumps that Michael's able to run in case we lose the other VFD. It's just not optimal for operational.
And how often is this running?
They run daily,
Daily.
24 hours.
What is the multi-purpose pump station? And where in the plant is that? What is it doing?
I'll take a whack at it, Michael, but it's the pumps that actually feed the water back up from the treatment process up to the filters and then on out to the percolation bits.
Okay.
So you figure the added cost is going to be, somewhere around $9,000?
$29,000, based on some pricing that we got for replacements when that first failed, and we were seeking to repair it. One thing I didn't mention is that we seeked out to repair the VFD, but this VFD is non-repairable. Some of the parts are no longer available. We're confident that we can get the price under $29,000.
Okay, and this, once again, it's gonna be the same thing as what Blake just indicated. You'll come back before the board with a revised recommendation?
In this case, I want to seek the board's approval to go ahead and enter into a purchase agreement for a not-to-exceed price.
Okay, any comments,
Is
Blake?
this a just buying parts, or is this a furnish and install?
Just a procurement, and staff
Okay.
will install.
Okay, all right.
Part of it is to do a startup just for warranty purposes, but we'll do the installation.
Okay.
I'd move.
What type of warranty do you get on these things?
Be about 1 year.
That's it? Okay.
Well, move to adopt, to go forward with staff's recommendation of rejecting the current bid and authorizing staff to negotiate purchase of the multi-purpose pump VFD for not to exceed amount of $29,000.
Second.
You got that, Rochelle? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. No further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks.
Good morning, gentlemen. I have before you the approval for the annual employee appreciation dinner. As years before, we rotate back and forth between Reno and Truckee. And this year, we are back to Reno. And with your approval, I would like to go ahead and reserve or continue with a reservation for the El Dorado Resort and Casino. So it is, so 2 years ago, we had the Silver Legacy, and it's in that same row of hotels. We just were not able to reserve the same location, but I got a similar area. With your approval, I'd like to go ahead and reserve that El Dorado Casino. It is a slight increase of $6,000. That is to assume that we have a continued increase of employee attendance. I'm not sure that we will meet that $6,000, but I'm just taking into account the continued increase of employee attendance over the last few years. So, my recommendation is to...
Any questions?
I can't
Blake?
make that one, but I'll be back in town. I'm out of town that weekend, so, but it's not, I mean, I don't know.
When's it gonna be?
December 7th. It's the first Saturday in December.
All right, we'll be here.
Yep.
Okay,
So moved.
been moved, been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Can I close it?
Okay. Let's talk about the department reports.
Morning, President Cox, Board of Directors. The Operations Department report for September. All plant waste discharge requirements were met for the month. Operations is in process of removing ENR beads from the backwash tank. We're in preparation for cleaning digester 31, and overall the plant performed well through the month. Laboratory staff performed necessary laboratory testing per WDR requirements and received a certification from ELAP for the new TOC, Total Organic Carbon Analyzer, so we can start reporting those numbers as we were sending them out before. And then plant data is in front of you. Does anybody have any questions on the report or any of the data?
I could just, we always talk about, okay, we've met our discharge requirements.
Yes.
Okay, with Lehigh. Okay, as far as discharge. Briefly, because I know there's a lot of requirements. Okay, as far as, the Truckee River discharge, what other requirements, what other monitoring besides the river and the wells do we do as far as our Lahontan requirements?
For Lahontan requirements,
Yeah.
for the...
State water was,
we also have requirements on the raw influent and the effluent.
Okay.
testing requirements.
Testing,
Yeah.
testing requirements, yeah. So, I mean, we're monitoring the wells?
Yes.
Correct? I mean, and we have certain standards we have to maintain those wells under, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We're monitoring down, river flow down, below the plant, correct?
Above, below,
Above and below,
state line, and also
Okay.
Martis.
yeah. Okay. I just, I mean, we got 15 different stations we're monitoring,
As far as for a total state number of stations,
that we monitor for the state water wastewater discharge requirements.
I don't know that number
Okay.
right offhand. I would have to get that for you.
And it's just, you know, we always talk about it, meeting our discharge requirements, and I know, you know, basically, you know, below the river, above the river, you know, at the discharge area,
We have
wells,
5 river locations.
okay,
Well 31 is
the main,
the main well that we have to do static levels and some other things that we report to the state.
okay. So we got
Some of the other
five
wells.
on the Truckee River, correct? Okay. and
3 on the Truckee River and 2 on Martis.
2 on Martis, and then well 31. Okay.
You submit your data monthly, electronically?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever get feedback from them?
Not typically.
Okay.
It's,
Do you have a sense that they're looking at the data? I just, you know.
Good question.
it's hard to, I
We
Yeah,
have no
okay.
way of knowing.
I mean, the only time we really get in a pickle here is, you know, when the river's really low, correct? You know?
that does impact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, solution to pollution is pollution, you know? So,
And we
but salt's
have
the
very-
main issue down there, correct?
And we have very high discharge requirement, or very strict standard discharge requirements, which,
Right.
because of the Truckee River,
Okay,
so.
great, thank you.
Any other
Any
questions?
questions for Michael? Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Everybody is looking at it.
Morning again, President Cox and the Board of Directors, Richard Palante, Maintenance Manager. So we have 43 dig alerts along TRI corridor, some various projects that we work with, other departments on concrete repair, headworks, the upgrade, master plan workshop, admin remodel, digital scanning, and the squaw project. Completed all our scheduled work orders for September, our PM work orders. Open work orders for corrective are holding about the same month to month, which is a good sign. Staff was primarily focused on the ADA compliance part of the admin remodel. That's wrapped up. Pond A drainage ditch, we're still out there for the remainder of this week. That was a large project, taking out a significant amount of sediment from years of runoff in a drainage ditch that protects Pond A. And we're out there lining it with geotextile material and rock working with the engineering department. And then the King's boiler installation continues with startup mid this month.
Okay, the entry looks fantastic, Richard.
Thank you.
That is really a fresh look, coming in and seeing something other than what we were used to seeing
Yeah, looks
in the
good.
past. It looks great.
I take all the credit, engineering and their design, and work with them. Big part of it.
That was you, Jay, that did all that?
I always say the first impression is the most important impression, and that's what you get a fresh look, so.
Yeah, I got another comment. As far as for the Squaw Siphon project, are we gonna be impacted on the October 15th excavation deadline? I look at it every day, and it looks like they're getting it pretty well wound up on the roadside. How are we doing at the river?
Good. And I don't know if Jay was going to speak to this, because we did have a progress meeting, so. Yeah, I'll defer
Okay.
to Jay, but we were out there and they are moving along.
Okay, and then the final comment I have is just by accident, I've been monitoring the boiler installation down by the cafeteria or the buffet area or whatever, and Jim Redmond's doing a great job. He's really conscientious and is putting forth a great effort there, and it looks great.
Well, thank you for the feedback myself.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to pass that feedback along.
Yeah, do that, please.
Will do.
Any other questions or comments for Richard? Any? Okay, thank you.
Good morning again. So we've been busy in September. October 15 is coming up, and we're relieved that that's happening. So we worked on the 2019 plant concrete repair project. We finished up the admin building office remodel project. We're currently working on the roof repair project that's scheduled to be finished tomorrow. Digital scanning of sewer lines that wrapped up last week. Headworks improvements project that's in design. 2019 digester cleaning project that's now in operations court, but engineering helped plan for that. And then master sewer plan, we had some meetings on that. And then Squaw Valley project planning meetings or more just weekly progress meetings with the contractor. So yeah, Dale, to answer your question, we went out yesterday to attend a progress meeting on the riverside, and the TRI manhole was virtually complete. They were expecting to be doing the final touches on it today. With their backfill, their goal is to do all the soil disturbance work to complete that by October 15th. And the flow meter installation, and well, it's installed. The flow meter calibration, startup, integration activity as early as tomorrow, starting as early as tomorrow, with the goal of finishing that by October 15th as well. What will end up being delayed beyond the October 15th deadline is the lining of the manholes, the super coat lining, which is the protective coating that's applied to the inside of the manhole. But that coating does not require any soil civil disturbance, so they're able to do that after the October 15th deadline. So yeah, I mean, it appears to be going well. They're working hard to finish by Tuesday, or as much as they can. Yeah.
So the telemetry connection between the flow meters, are we going to be able to get a readout here at our office? Or is this something that Squaw's going to have to relay over?
No, we're
You're going to be hooked up?
splitting, yeah, we're taking one signal, the 40 to 20 milliamp signal part of it, and Squaw's taking the Modbus part of it, two different ways to communicate, but they're parallel signals, so we're getting the data at the same time as Squaw.
I have a question with regards to the roof project.
Yeah.
You're saying that's going to be completed next week?
Well, so let me clarify that one,
Yes.
because I maybe I spoke too soon on that. So there's a part of the job that we saved for next year. By change order, we had said, because we had the contractual issues and we didn't get those resolved until there were only 4 weeks left in the construction window. By change order, we said, we want you to focus on the most critical roof, which is building 1353. And then the rest are considered far less important in the grand scheme of things.
What is that, 60 to 70% of the bid?
I don't recall the schedule values, but it's probably 30% of the bid or something, 40%.
Okay.
In terms of square footage.
But in that building, that's the one where we had everything covered up, and
Yes.
any damages from the equipment over that period of time?
No.
Okay.
So we still all plastic up as a precaution, through to the point where, they're done, and then, we'll do some
We'll pull it
sprinkler
all
tests or, or rainstorm or whatever to verify that we're good, and then we remove the plastic.
Okay, and then next year we will finish the other buildings. The leak issues have been addressed for the winter period, so it won't create any further damage
Yeah,
to the equipment in there?
I'd say the other ones would qualify to be more preventative maintenance, if you want to call that, whereas the roof we're dealing with now is corrective. So
Well, yeah.
the other roofs leak, but they're not leaking over
Over equipment?
over equipment, and the leaks aren't nearly as bad. It's just stuff that.
Because, I mean, when you say minor, I mean, we're completely replacing the roofs.
Because like digester 32, for example.
Right.
It's leaking, but it's not leaking over critical equipment.
Correct.
And building 27, we're doing, not that it's leaking now, it's, the roof's intact, but that's such a, that's the electrical supply.
Right.
The roof's intact, but it's aged, and then such like a critical brain or heart, or whatever you want to call it, of the facility that we deemed that it was time to, peace of mind, replace that one. Building 4, which is the last area, there's a CPU PLC in that building. There's a leak in that building, but it's not dripping on the equipment. But because that's another control center area, we wanted to hit that or repair it before that got much worse.
Okay. So you're confident if we have another winter with what we have, I mean, that none of our critical equipment is going to be...
I mean, ideally, they would have done this before fall this year.
Right.
By October 4, but because of contractual issues, they wanted to rip open all the roofs and do it now, but we didn't feel comfortable because that would push them into November.
Mhm.
They're not from here to know that what are November's and sometimes October's even look like. So we had to do triage and go, what's the area that needs it most?
Will we have a change order for another setup period for next year?
Yeah, but it's a $0 change order.
Okay, good. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments for Jay?
No, thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good morning, members of the board. For the month of September, the IT department has been keeping pace with the needs and requests of our fellow departments. For admin, we are in process of replacing all of the staff's computers. We're about 75% finished. But anyway, yes, and we also completed all the networking communications for the front desk area in Michelle's new office. In operations, along with our I&E crew, we helped finish the installation of the lagging DO probes for the oxygenation basin and have them pulling in SCADA. This is something that operations has wanted for a while. Working with maintenance, we completed the AWT and front gate camera installation, and we have it now being recorded and accessible by the people who need to see that. Lastly, all correct equipment has arrived for our new virtual machine host server, which is basically our main server that's going to be running our automation equipment and things like that. And that should be up and operational by the middle of the month. All in all, our department has been able to keep up with the demands and requests from the staff and equipment equipment. Any questions?
Security cameras,
Yes.
any update?
Yes, so we have the ones up on top of AWT that looks down on the front gate area. And then also 2 months ago, we were able to install the one up on top of BNR. I'm sorry, BNR influent pump station, which gives us a view of all of the CNCT and the ballast pond.
So Bob, as far as for security cameras, it sounds to me like we have the exterior premises type surveillance pretty well dialed.
Yeah, with this problem, we have two different things going on. We have the one for the capital improvement plan, and we also have one for just maintenance and repair. So the cameras that I just mentioned were more for the existing cameras. They came after the expansion. A couple of them have aged and the quality is reduced. So we're basically replacing those as we go along.
Now, when you say replacing some of the cameras, when we finished up our BNR, we had surveillance cameras on the inside of the building?
No.
No. So we have no surveillance on anything that goes on with inside the walls?
The only place we have inside is the front desk. So that shines down, that looks down at the two sets of double doors, so we can see everybody who's coming in and out of the facility, in and out of the office. And then also, it's kind of a fisheye wide angle, so you can see the interaction of the customer or whoever's sitting at the front desk. Whoever is in front of the front desk.
So as far as for operation of these cameras and purchase, are these cameras really expensive?
I think that's kind of relative. The cameras that we've bought for the replacements are about half the price of what we paid for them 10 years ago, and they are vastly superior. So $2,500 for an incredible camera, which I think is an incredible piece of technology. So, but that might be expensive in your eyes. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's all about what it does and what kind of security it provides for the plant. I just wondered if we had any kind of security surveillance for any of the key places in the plant that could be like sabotaged or
Can I address that?
Yeah.
We found out that, at least I recently found out that there's a plan that was started years ago for security cameras. So someone had done the work up front, identified some potential locations to see all areas in the plant. So we're getting back to that. We have a capital improvement project to furnish and install these security cameras. So the idea right now is to go back and revisit that plan, see if it's still going to satisfy the needs that we think that we need to have around the plant. But that's it's on this year's budget, so we'll be doing the security cameras for that. Some are part of the capital reserve budget, some are part of the rehab budget. But there is a plan in place. We're just picking up from years ago, and we're going to be revisiting this year.
Okay. Any further questions or comments for Bob?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a kind of a funny question.
Sure.
You know, the altercation supposedly took place some time ago. Was that on film or there's no cameras in that spot?
I don't know much at all. I can't say much.
Good morning, gentlemen. For the month of September in the administration department, we had our audit with DeMoore, Hemrick, and Schneider. Our auditors were in-house the 16th through the 20th. They were actually short-staffed this year, so usually we have 4 auditors in-house going through all of our information, and we only had 2. So they were in and out during that period of time, so we are doing more over through email, sending them some additional information now that they are out of the office. So we are completing the rest of our audit now into the month of October. And we are happy that engineering and maintenance have completed the administrative remodel project. I have moved into my new office. I am no longer homeless. And as you have seen and commented, we have our new reception desk as well. And I wanted to thank engineering, especially Aaron, who was the project manager, construction manager on the project. He was on the ball every day, ensuring that that got done, checking in with me on little things throughout the course of the project. So I wanted to thank him for that. Everything came out nicely. So you're welcome to stop by and take a look on the way out if you like, to come through the office and check it out. Other than that, we are continuing again with our Cassell accounting software. We are scheduled, not in October after all, we are scheduled the week before Thanksgiving to go out to Provo, Utah for our Cassell training. There will be 4 of us that are going to go for a whole week of training. And so that will push back our go live implementation just a little bit, but we're okay with that. We want to make sure that we get the appropriate training and that we are all ready to go and go live and get everything that we need to be fully functional. And other than that, I have some additional information in here in regard to the billing department. I know you had asked for additional details with coordination with the other districts. So I have some additional information I received from staff in regards to that. Other than that, if you have any other questions.
Well, now that the property tax bills are out and people are seeing the TTSA bills, have you been getting any type of response from the public with regards?
We have had more people call and say, I haven't received my bill yet. Are you going to send me a bill? Then we have people say, what is this additional charge on my tax bill? So we have just had to explain, we are not sending you a bill. We have sent it to the tax roll. You will no longer be receiving a bill from
I've got a
us.
lot of compliments that it's on the tax.
I have too.
It's one less issue that they have to deal with, and it's been the response has been really good as far as the public with doing so. And then you tell them the efficiencies that it saves, they're even more happy about it.
Yes.
But I mean, that's with the residential. When's the commercial go on there?
We will have more. We did send some commercial that was easy, easy, not so many, business fixture units to worry about.
Okay.
We are going to have more going next year.
So, yeah, because you only got to go through one cycle here to get to it'll be going through this full year. So, for the commercial people, they will not, for the majority of them, they won't see that on the tax rolls till till the 2020-21 billing goes, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
So with the change of our 2019 ordinance, it changed our business fixture unit a little bit.
Right.
So we are doing some conversions.
Okay.
So we have to complete those conversions in order to accurately, decipher all those accounts. Once we have that complete and we have all those commercial accounts appropriately reviewed, then they'll all be accurate for the next billing cycle.
correct. You can't do a half a billing cycle for, for just the April 10th or whatever cycle. So, so when we talk to the public as far as the commercial operators, that the majority of them, if they haven't, there are some that are on the commercial right now that receive it in the property taxes?
Just very few.
Okay, so
Very few.
basically, it's going to, next year, the majority of the commercial will see it on their property tax?
Yes.
Okay.
We only have a few, just like TSD, that are the fractional ownership properties
Okay.
that will not go to commercial. But
Okay.
very few.
All right.
And we continue to do the 6-month billing cycle for those that did not go. And so we'll do another billing in January for those very few that we have. And then next year in June or July, we'll do the remaining.
Okay, because, yeah, I know it's complicated, much more complicated in the commercial area than it is in the other area.
Very much
So to
so.
get it done right, make one, take the time, get it done right, so there's no double or overlapping situation here. So.
And that was, the case with the appeal,
Right,
going
exactly.
through
That's
and
what-
finding those corrections that need to be made going forward.
Good, thank you.
Go ahead, Beverly.
I have one question, Rochelle. I'm just trying to understand the connection fee table in relation to the residential EDU chart. The EDU chart indicated approximately, somewhere between 75 and 80 residential EDUs in the month of September.
Right,
But the table count for the whole district, residential count was 25.
right, they will not match.
So what is the,
Now the table is for actual permits cut or collected and received, The EDU summary is for active accounts.
So you,
Those are two different things.
so this will be the connection fees when you collect the fees, and then the chart shows when they're actually flowing, so.
Correct.
So I assume that the big spike there in September was the Coburn Crossing
Correct.
becoming active, but they had paid their fees
Yes.
previously, and that would have been picked up in the table
And
earlier.
that was, they
Okay.
actually paid their fees previous.
Right, okay.
So they paid the full, even though they're smaller units, they're gonna show on the old rate structure. And,
They actually, they are on the new rate structure, but previous fiscal year, I'll have to go back and see
No, I mean,
exactly.
the-
Connection
what they-
fees, I think they
they-
paid under the
they would've-
5,000 per.
yeah, they wouldn't have been on the
Flat.
square footage rate. You think,
I'll have to go back and look,
You know,
because they only
I'm
permitted,
just-
I think, 3 buildings. But I'll
Those
have to
are
look and see.
flowing, but I
Was
think
it
they pay
before?
connection fees for the entire complex,
Yeah. Really?
They pulled their permits
right?
well in advance of us making that fee change.
Right?
so
Yeah,
that's
it was
not gonna
before- it
affect,
was
this.
definitely
That would have been a
before
big
May.
effect here,
It was before
but it's
May.
not. So,
Yeah.
hey, I mean, there's no repercussion where they can come back and say, hey, since you changed it, and we got all smaller rooms, can I get a rebate on this thing? Okay,
You're paid.
all right.
I made sure to consult with legal on that, right?
Right.
When you're paid, you're paid.
As long as legal's good, it's fine with me.
Okay, one final question, Rochelle.
Yes.
In this new billing process with, on the tax rolls, we deal with 3 counties. And can you give me an idea of what the cumulative charge is? As I remember, it was like 1% of the total assessment. So with that being said, with that 1% from the 3 counties, what kind of fees are we allowing the member counties to take out of our revenue stream?
So each county is different, and the 1%, the most expensive is Placer County, and they take 1%. And I'll have to go back and pull the data, but I think El Dorado, I don't want to quote you off the tip of my tongue, but El Dorado is the least expensive. I know El Dorado and Nevada charge per parcel, and then Placer is 1% of the total accumulative amount billing to the tax roll.
I see. So with us doing this procedure, we're saving the agency roughly $195,000,
That was my original assessment,
the
yes.
original assessment. But I can't recall what amount is taken out of our revenue stream to allow this to happen. Is there any chance, Rochelle, if there's not that big of a problem and it doesn't take that much investigation?
Sure.
Next month, could you kind of let us know how much this new procedure is actually costing the agency?
Absolutely.
Breakdown.
I
Yeah,
know.
breakdown.
I can tell you off the top, InfoSend is a vendor that we used just to send out all of our invoices to all of our 29,000 customers, and it would cost us, anywhere between, I want to say, $20,000 off per billing. So $40,000 a year just to mail the invoices out, just to mail them. So $40,000 just to mail them. So I can get you, and that's postage. So I can get you all the additional costs.
Yeah, I
Pull
think
it
that
off
as
for
far
you.
as for researching all the costs, Rochelle, I don't think that's really necessary. What I'm interested in is how much we are paying out of the agency to have this convenience implemented.
Sure.
And if it's 1% of the overall gross of our net income, that's a figure that I'd kind of like to see.
I can do that for you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments for Rochelle in regards to administrative report?
Thank you.
Thank you. Managers?
I have nothing to add, I just want to elaborate on a couple of things. I wanted to acknowledge Rochelle in the front office, because even though she had the support of the admin staff, or the engineering, and maintenance staff, she was actually the one that designed it. Came up with the concept, picked the colors, so I wanted to make sure that she didn't go unacknowledged there. Wanted to touch base on this Ames GIS system here. One of the discussions in the past was that once this product is up and running, we'd like to bring it back to the board and present something. They're in the final stages of it. Before that's done, I do want to input some information so we can show the full capacity, at least as much as we can. So we'll be working on that over the next few months to find an area, put all the information for that area. It will be a very small percentage of all the information. At least we can show the full impacts of that. So I just want to let you know that I expect that in the next few months before I can come back and provide that to you. Other than that, I have no additional information to provide in the general manager's report.
Okay. Directors? Blake?
I have three quick things. One, TSD discovered a section of its sewer line that drains Donner Lake. Was installed in the late 60s, right in the creek bed. Section of that pipe has been found exposed, and so we're going to be doing some emergency repairs to that pipe. And I invite your staff, LaRue, you, to come out and take a look at it. We're using some articulated concrete mats. It's a nice system, very low impact to the channel, and something that hopefully you guys never have to deal with, but a good piece of equipment should one of your river crossings or pipes near a stream ever get exposed. That'll be happening the week of October 28th. Secondly, we have a very interesting, TSD has an interesting collection system that serves Glenshire. It's all gravity, but it runs through a pair of inverted siphons, and so annually we have vaults at the low point that we try and flush any accumulated solids out, and it's a pretty big operation, and we bring all that over here to staff, to TTSA, to drain and decant that stuff, and I wanted to thank staff for coordinating with TSD's crews in that operation that just happened. And then lastly, I know you guys are signed up to do the big truck day. Hopefully we can get our tables adjacent to each other. Good coordinated effort there, TSD and TTSA together, be able to share the message on the collection and treatment side of things. And so I was glad to see that. And I don't know whether you're doing Truckee River Day or not as well. That was the intention. Okay, so that's, I know that they're both happening Saturday, one Saturday, and the next day is Sunday. So, but I think it's great to see you guys getting out and you know, sharing the message with the community about what we do here, the importance of it. So
My grandson's favorite day, big truck day.
and he gets that's it. Thank you.
Lane, what about you?
I'm good. You're doing a
Dan?
great job, Dale.
Johnny?
I'm good.
I got a comment. Everybody knows and understands that that the Squaw Valley Public Service District took over ownership of a 40-year-old transfer line that TTSA used to own, and that the repairs are just about complete. It cost the Squaw Valley Public Service District a little bit in excess of $2 million to upgrade TTSA's old infrastructure, and we are confident at Squaw Valley that the necessary adjustments are being made to compensate Squaw Valley for their due diligence in upgrading an old TTSA facility.
It's nice to see that the member districts are taking care of their own good.
Okay, I just had to get that dig in.
Okay, I heard it before.
Okay, if there's anything else to be brought before this board for open session, now's the time. Otherwise, I'd like to adjourn to closed session. We're back into open session. Counselor?
No reportable action coming out of closed session.
Okay, if there's nothing else to be brought before this October
I'll make the
9th.
motion to adjourn.
A motion is on the floor.
Second.
Seconded by Wilkins. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.